Hello, everyone. How are we doing? How are we keeping this evening? Happy Wednesday, I suppose, too, to say, too. It's that time of the week again. Not to believe. Time is flying, let's put it that way. We're already literally on the night of July. Literally 50% of the year is gone. Think about that for a second. More than 50% of this, I think it's 54% of the year is gone. It's crazy. And then we're into August. Where does the time go? Where does it go? It's insane. But yeah, let me just sort everything out here. So a good lot to talk about. In fairness, a lot of stuff has happened. Um, the last few days, particularly. As soon as I'm not live, everything happens. Um, Give me a moment. What the fuck? Um, I didn't put up in the community post too. Is this too loud? It probably is too loud. I didn't put up in the community post what time I was going to go live at because I didn't know myself, to be totally honest with you. I was hoping it would be 6:30 or so around this time. But again, you can never really guarantee that, to be totally honest. Because obviously things happen and stuff, of course. Hopefully we're all good. Allegedly, of course, too. We should be fine anyway. Don't know why we wouldn't be fine in terms of YouTube. But then again, YouTube can be weird. Let me see. Give me a moment, sorry. Apologies. I think we're fine. Let me see. Yeah, we are. It looks to be fine. Looks to be, he says. Yeah, it seems to be fine. Seems to be. Well, we get started in a few minutes. The usual thing. We just kind of chill out for a few minutes. Probably for 10 minutes anyway. The usual stuff. So as they say, a lot of stuff abroad, particularly, and a lot of stuff in Ireland to talk about. Let me see. What is this? I'm kind of just catching up on myself on the day's news too, particularly today, because when you're at work all day, sometimes you don't see what's happening until you come home. Like oftentimes I do be looking during the day just to see what's happening, but it's awful hard to do it. Let's put it that way. Uh, if that makes any sense, particularly when you're working a physical job. If you're sitting in an office and stuff, it's fine. You can look at your phone now and again. But when you're at work, doing physical work, it's not as easy as it looks to do physical work and thing in question in terms of looking at your phone. Let me see. All good. Did I make it public? I must have. I'm just about to check. I'm hearing myself. Great stuff. Always a good thing to hear yourself. I presume I did. I have to actually check on my computer. It won't show me my phone. Isn't it great? Like it says it's up, but just to make sure I'm not an idiot. Because that did happen one time before. I uploaded the video, and about a day or two later, I was like, "Wait a second! I didn't make this public, even though I should have made it public." But wait a second. 2 days later, hello, Sean. That explains that. I thought I forgot to put it public. I thought I put it private. So thank you for commenting at the exact right moment. No quack anyway. How are you, Sean? Any fun? Any quack? Not the quack, of course. The quack. Got a notification this time, Poggers. That must be the first time, literally, in donkey's year, Sean. Because nobody else is getting it. Enjoying the sunshine. Ho ho. It's supposed to be only here for this week, and then it's gone next week. Supposedly. So they say. So about time the notifications kind of work, in some shape or form. Um, it's weird YouTube. Then we get the usual crack. Obviously, we'll give it a few minutes for people to get in, and then we start yapping, of course. Um, See, I didn't put it up too. Usually, I put it up saying, "Oh, I'm going to go live at this time" on the community post. I didn't do that today, so it was just kind of. I didn't know myself, to be totally honest. I was going to go live at 7. Oh, I clicked this thing off. Great stuff. Fucking ads. Excuse my language. Ai Vito. I hate this. If you give me one wish in life, and we have to stop these ads on YouTube because they're just fucking insane. Every 5 seconds of the day, there's an ad on YouTube nowadays. Like quite literally, the majority of the stuff you're watching now on YouTube is literally just ads. Like at this stage, you might as well just watch ads. I go and watch Fortune Media and stuff because that's the only ads I'm getting. I'm getting Fortune Media ads and Bus Air ads, and it's driving me mad. And a lot of them are non-skippable. Like it's insane. Like how did they take this as a good idea? Like putting ads up that are literally unskippable. Like who cares? To be totally honest with you. I suppose we get started. On Twitter, on X, whatever way you want to call it, there is a kind of a what would you call it? An AI, I suppose, built into Twitter. It's called Guac, isn't it? Guac, it's Guac, yeah. And that's kind of been committing thought crime at the moment. And Elon Musk is very upset, etc. Like literally, it went wild. Like the AI on Twitter literally went mad last night. In terms of this Guac thing, which is pretty much AI for Twitter, like to ask questions and stuff. Like it quite literally went rogue. Like if there ever is a definition of rogue, that happened last night to that AI Guac. It says something the things you're not allowed to say, and obviously everybody's very upset. Like, I'm not even going to show you the stuff that it said because it's absolutely fucking wild. Some of the stuff it came out with, like some of the stuff it literally came out with, it's insane. Like look it up if you get a chance because it is literally mad. Like, some of the stuff, like it just like crazy stuff. Like if I said the half of the stuff it said, goodbye me. Way to say. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else see that, but just thought I'd mention it because the mainstream media, particularly RT, are very upset about it. Because I've seen a post from RT talking about it there earlier on. My eyes itchy. Great stuff. So obviously we have to address the elephant in the room. What everybody's pretty much talking about at the moment, and that's to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, obviously, the Donald Trump said even before he got to the presidency this time that he would release the files on Jeffrey Epstein, everything, who was on his client list. Very powerful people on his client list. So the FBI and the Department of Justice in the United States pretty much have said there was no such thing as a client list. It didn't exist. There's no such thing as any. There's no evidence to suggest Jeffrey Epstein pretty much done anything. That's what the FBI is literally saying at this stage. And the Department of Justice in the United States. So Jeffrey Epstein pretty much done nothing. There was no such thing as a client list. There was nobody that went to his island. All these, pretty much that's what they're saying, pretty much, the FBI and Department of Justice, which nobody believes because what he got. The head of the FBI, even before he became the head of the FBI, the current head of the FBI, said there was Epstein files and stuff, and then not to mention the head of the Department of Justice said it's on my desk, waiting for me to review back a few months ago. Now all of a sudden there's no such thing, and how could we go from they're on my desk waiting to be reviewed to they don't exist? How could you do that within a few months? It doesn't make any sense. But they don't exist anymore. They did exist, but they probably got rid of them. But obviously, no one believes them. Let's put it out. Quite literally, nobody believes them. It's the same with did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself and stuff? Nobody believes that. Nobody believes it, to be totally honest. Nobody generally believes it. We all know he was probably working for a foreign intelligence service, and they probably done the deed pretty much. And obviously because there were some influential people involved with Jeffrey Epstein, and their names, they didn't want pretty much him blowing the whistle on it. So pretty much they got rid of him to stop him doing that. And obviously it was an outside force. I think former Congressman Matt Gaetz in the United States said it. And he was on the Intelligence Committee in the United States, closed meetings of the Intelligence Committee in Congress. That he said he thinks was a foreign country that took him out. A certain country in the Middle East, nonetheless, that you're not supposed to criticize in any shape or form, which kind of fits into what's happening here, because you're not allowed to question anything a certain. They can question China, you can question Russia, you can question your own country, but you can't question one country in the Middle East. You can't do that in America. You can't do that in the Western world in general. You can't ask any questions against a certain country in the Middle East that America gives billions a euro every year to. You can't do that. Hello, Fiona. How are we doing? Good evening. But definitely Jeffrey Epstein had ties to that certain country in the Middle East. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. He had leaks to their intelligence agency. There's no doubt in anybody's mind at this stage, because the United States they clearly know, the FBI, etc., what Epstein was up to. Hello, Brick. How are you doing? But they just don't want to say it because a certain country in the Middle East was involved in it, and they have probably something to do with Jeffrey Epstein in a big way. And you're not allowed to question, this country. You can question any other country in the world, but you can't question this country. That's my view on the Jeffrey Epstein files. Not to mention, too, where Jeffrey Epstein's private plane many times came to Ireland, particularly Shannon, and all the evidence of who was on his plane when it touched down in Ireland and everything seemed to just magically disappear, and it can't be found now. Very coincidentally, of course. Things just randomly disappear. And there's no record of him ever being here, because the plane was here, but nobody, we don't know anything. Isn't it great? So that was all flushed down the toilet. Not to mention, just the last thing saying Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump, pretty much, there was a cabinet meeting in the United States yesterday in the White House, I think it was. And Donald was supposed to DOJ too. Pretty much the Department of Justice, the head of the Department of Justice. And Donald Trump was asked by a reporter, he did land it on Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, his private plane is registered as being here. But the way they should have a register who was on the plane, or, how long the plane was here. Was he here for a week, take was up in certain time? There's no information. There's pretty much, we know the plane touched down here, yes. But we don't know for how long, who was on the plane. There was nothing. But that did exist. It did exist at one stage, but it disappeared, coincidentally, when people started looking for it. Coincidentally, it just disappeared, and nobody's ever mentioned it since. But not even that, as I just was saying about Donald Trump, he's literally said yesterday, we're still talking about Jeffrey Epstein after all these years. Like, quite literally, the man was a child abuse at the highest level, and literally had presidents, prime ministers, etc., literally going to his private island to abuse children, and Donald Trump has the gall, and obviously he's probably on the list or some way associated. We obviously know he's on the list in some shape or form, but he has the gall and still to say to people, why are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, like a lot of the pageant, because when you go onto a plane, take for example, when I went off to Finland, there's your boarding pass, etc., your passport, who came into the country. Like, you have to have a register who's on the plane, but that doesn't exist in terms of it did exist at one stage, but then it disappeared. And not even that, like his private plane, Like Tiff itself, if it's in Dublin or if it's in Shannon, it would be noted down how long the plane was there. Like, was the plane there from, say, May to June, take for example? It would be noted that it was in this place at this point in time and then left this place at this point. But all that records disappeared. Like, it was mainly in Shannon Airport. But all that disappeared. Quite literally, there's no record. We know the plane was here, but we don't have any record of who was on the plane, how long it was here. There's none of that. Just all gone. Like, it did exist at one stage, but it doesn't exist anymore. And there's no questions about it here and why that's the case. Because it probably should be questions of why this happened. Who was he visiting in Ireland? And what was his business here coming to Ireland? Same with ships, yeah. You obviously ships have cargo manifests, etc. But passenger ships too, yeah. Not so much cargo ships, the crew and stuff, but passenger ships, of course, do have a log too, of who's on the ships and stuff. Now, there's a good lot to talk about in Ireland at the moment, to be totally honest. That's just mentioned a big, huge thing that's going on at the moment. There's literally that much to talk about. Yeah, but it doesn't exist. Like, there's an article literally from the mainstream media about 3 or 4 years ago. And it literally said it too, that it doesn't exist. It's gone, disappeared. It was flushed down the toilet pretty much a few years ago. I think it was the Irish Mirror, I'm not too sure. But even they said they can't find any records. It's just gone. Yeah, I just, it definitely is an article, because I remember when a kid came up, this is a few years ago now, but there was not much talk about it. Yeah, just give me a moment. Yeah, I found it here. Just bear with me. Because it doesn't exist. Like, this is literally from the mainstream media here. Happened. Quite literally, as the Irish Independent, airport records of Jeffrey Evans's private jet visited now have been shredded. Like, they've been got rid of. They were purposely got rid of. And this is from 2021, just to say. This is a good while ago. December the 4th, 2021. A good while ago. And again, this is from the mainstream media literally saying that they were got rid of. There probably is some record somewhere of it, but it's well hidden. But literally, that's literally that. Again, the Irish government don't care to look. But again, there hasn't been a word said since RT. No mainstream media has said, why is this the case? Why was this done? There's been no question since that. It's just been radio silence, and we're in 2025 now. And there was nothing ever said since. The flight radar thing, yeah. But it still doesn't tell us, the main thing, I suppose. We can know where the plane is now, of course, but back then we don't know. If that makes any sense. So we move on, I suppose, from there. Now, I don't really know where to start. So the presidential election, literally coming up in Ireland in November, things are getting very interesting. So at the moment in time, there's a huge push from Catherine Connolly, the independent for Galway. She's the Leska Hirlucht of the Dáil. What I mean by that, the less cam caller, pretty much. So there's a huge push to get her in as the independent candidate, I suppose, for the presidency. Now, I don't know, will she? And then again, the other big news is Mary Lou McDonald. Sinn Féin hasn't put anybody forward yet, but Mary Lou McDonald has said she might go for it too. Mary Lou McDonald, like the leader of Sinn Féin. God help us all, of course. But you know, I don't know what to tell you about that one. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I presume what Sinn Féin wanted, just on the Sinn Féin topic, just when I'm here, I presume they want to get rid of Mary Lou McDonald and send her to the Áras, pretty much, so they can try and clean face, pretty much. What I mean by that is get a new person in from Sinn Féin that nobody knows much about, kind of to get working class communities back, because we all know a lot of people have trying to get Sinn Féin to try and get back that vote they've lost. That's what I think they're trying to do. So they kind of get rid of Mary Lou to put her into Áras and nuke her on. And bring in some new face from Sinn Féin that we never heard. So they can get back, they can try and gaslight a few people at the like people that are against immigration, etc. To try and gaslight them to say that we're against immigration and stuff. That's what I think Sinn Féin's trying to do here. I think that's the whole plan here. If it works out or not, I think that's the agenda. We see what happens, but who knows? Yeah, with some of the police, like just saying about the military weather, some of them you can't follow. Like some planes that have turned off the transmission, etc. Yeah, you can follow flights. I've used it before, but obviously there's no record for who was on the plane like back then. Brick. Like as they even admit there in the roll article, the records were shredded, were gone. Everything was wiped. Which doesn't say that let's put it that way. If you ever wanted to look more suspicious, they literally done it. Like it'd be different if they had it up there for everybody to see. But it's quite literally, they've literally shot themselves in the photo because that looks so sus that you just deleted all that information, But just speaking about Áras and nuke on, Conor McGregor. First of all, I said about Conor McGregor before, but I think he's just doesn't understand the role of the presidency in Ireland in terms of the constitution. He seems to not understand. I read out what I'm talking about in a second. I get up because the presidency has no powers at all to do this. Whatever but having a say, and stuff like that. But the president has no power, no authority really to do half of the stuff Conor McGregor's talking about doing. So he posted 21 hours ago. Pretty much he was summoned the head of the door, the chief of the Garda Síochána O'Connor, the Minister for Justice, the Minister for House, the Minister for Education, etc. on my first day in the sitting room. Now, I don't think the president, again, we can argue that the current government is abusing the constitution, abusing people, but I don't think that gives anybody the right to go and abuse the constitution like the government's doing. Because it clearly states in Bunnock na Heron that the president has no authority to summon anybody, pretty much. He can't even summon the chief of staff of the army. He simply can't. He's the commander-in-chief of the army, but as the chief of staff, he has no authority really to summon anybody as Uachtar na Heron, as the president of Ireland. The only people who can do that is the Taoiseach and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They're the only people who can summon people to their place. Like the president has no authority to summon anybody, pretty much. So I think he's gravely misled Conor McGregor in what he thinks he can do as president, because I think he thinks that it's like the American system. I don't know, does he really understand what the Irish presidency is about, because he thinks it's the American system where you can do constitutional orders, etc. That's not the case in Ireland, just to say. But I don't like the way he came out yesterday. And said about Nick Delaney. If you don't know about him, he's been doing some great work on trying to expose much corruption, in many different sectors of Irish society. And he was like, I'll throw him down the Phoenix Park Hill, which is a great thing to say. I'm sure you would agree. But don't know what to tell you. Also, on actually good news. Do you want to hear some good news or what? Yesterday was the last day for all to implement hate speech laws. And unfortunately, it didn't go well. The third time it didn't work, unfortunately. So Micheál Martin was interviewed by Grip Media today, and he's very upset. He's very, very upset. Because they basically had to tell the European Union, "Oh, fuck you." That's pretty much what they had to kind of tell Ursula von der Leyen. So they're going to be very upset, the European Union too. But who cares? Yeah, they look very embarrassed looking now. Like Micheál Martin's fuming. Like he's actually waging that people have the gall to challenge this. He's like, there's too much hate speech in this country. There's too much hate speech. There's too much questions being asked in this country. And people are standing up and giving out to me about it. So, but yeah, it didn't go well for them. So, and they can try it again and again and again. They're going to get their ads up because there's simply no way in hell. And I think they know it themselves. Micheál Martin knows himself. I think all hell is going to break loose if they ever try and pass it. Like if they ever generally going to push it forward and stuff, there's going to be hell to pay. Like quite literally. I think everybody can see that the writing is literally on the wall if they do. If they do try and pass it, there's no such thing as compromise in terms of it. Like people are not going to accept it, and it will be the end of the government, whatever they do. So it's best for them to stay away from it, for their own sake. But yeah, so it's a great news that the hate speech bill, pretty much, it's not going to be passed this year. That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. Regardless of what they do, they're not going to get it passed by Christmas. So it's fair to say there'll be no hate speech bill this year. Even though, again, they're going to be hell-bound, like the way they want to do it. But they're afraid of the reaction, as they should be afraid of the reaction. And not even that, too. They're very embarrassed now. So God knows what the European Union now is going to find us, because they're not going to let us off with it. Well, they're not going to let the Irish people off with it. The politicians will get off scot-free, of course. But they only get a telling off. So we'll probably get a big fine out of it. But so look, that's the price of freedom. We pay a big fine. I'd be happy to pay a big fine than give up my freedom of speech. So let them find a way. We just won't pay it. But again, they won't have the guts to say that to them. But that's what I would tell them. We just won't pay it. As Hungary does at the moment. Hungary's being fined €1 million a day for not letting everybody come into their country. And they just simply won't pay it. So what can they really do, the European Union? So Micheál Martin's very upset. I think that's the main line here. So there's talk at the moment. Obviously, Micheál Martin was in Japan. He's been questioning the House of City Oireachtas now. Denies changing his flight from Japan so he could not miss the Hurling match. Also, there was a power cut in the Dáil too. Did anybody see that? They didn't pay the electricity bill. There's not that. Hopefully that... I don't know what it was. But the power went out in the Dáil for about 10 minutes or something like that today. Which is not much loss, but yeah, the power went out. So they had to sit in darkness for a few minutes. Very ominous. Yeah, I found that very funny too. I think everybody laughed at that. Everyone liked that. I think it's funny. I put it up in the community post about it. Like they were sitting in a committee meeting, a good few people, and they were just in darkness. It's funny. So RT is very upset too at the moment. They're very upset about people questioning who's being pushed into the communities and stuff. Anti-immigration, anti-migrant mobilisation across the island of Ireland has entered more and more organised phase, according to the organisation which monitors disinformation and extremism. Extremism. Because quite literally, there's extremism in the government. The government are the extremists. They should look at the government because they're the most extreme people I see. You're trying to literally push people into the country, and not to mind other stuff. We could argue for the next 6 weeks about it. Also, there was an interesting study done, and this is from 2023. Do you want to hear this? So we all know Ireland has the highest, pretty much, we pay the most in rent and in terms of food prices, etc. And the welfare spending now, I'm not a big fan of welfare. It's only 8.1%, the lowest in the European Union, pretty much, in terms of welfare, which sounds insane. But obviously for Irish people, this is only for native people. But obviously asylum seekers get more, of course, than the Irish people. We're the lowest in terms of, imagine we're the most expensive country in the world to live in. But yeah, it's only 8.1% in terms of GDP that's spent on social protection. Compared to Finland, just looking at Finland, 25.7%, the highest in the European Union. Finland and so on. In 2023, obviously Sana was about 10. It doesn't exist anymore. There's no such thing as anything anymore. Everything's been cut. So yeah, the government, like, imagine trying to the disinformation from the government and extremism from the government. I don't know what happened, but it was funny anyway. Well, the biggest threat is the government. The biggest threat is them, and obviously Davos are good friends in Davos. They're the biggest threat too. They're very dangerous too. But yeah, it's quite insane when you really look at it too. That Ireland only spends 8.1% compared to the rest of the European Union. Like Iceland and Malta spends more on social protection, I suppose, than Ireland, which is insane. But it makes sense, I suppose, because it's Paddy, and nobody likes Paddy apparently. So they say. So the media keep telling me, and they would never lie, would they? So what do we think about the presidency? Just asking you, what do we take? Who are we thinking about at the moment? Like, you don't need to tell me, I'm still taking no answer. Well, what do we take? Who are we looking at in terms of the presidency? Do we have anybody in mind? Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are we doing? Oh, it is one. Everything's one in terms of the state. Local authorities, everything is rotten. It all needs to be gutted, to be totally honest, and then we build from the ground up, because that's really the only, unfortunately, that's the only really way to do it. Because it's all just rotten to the core. Like, it's like old wood, pretty much. It needs to be all taken down and rebuilt, for the benefit of society, for the benefit of the Irish people, because it's totally rotten. Also, OT Crash Kitchen closed because of food concerns. Lovely. OT are poisoning people. Great stuff, OT. Mighty stuff. I just want to talk about this for a second. So Tusla. Now, obviously, Tusla is not fit for any purpose. Let's put it that way too. But it's out with 96,666. I'm not joking you. 666. The devil's number, isn't it lovely? So 96,666 children protection and welfare for us last year, which was a 5% increase on 2023. And obviously, this is very, very worrying. Because it's worrying to see so many children being abused by their parents, first of all. And not to mention, then obviously they get lost in Tusla's care. So that's very worrying too. So there's many of that. So it's everywhere, pretty much, unfortunately. But it's very worrying to see that. Now, I made a video about this yesterday. Crime has gone up dramatically I suppose that's an understatement. But particularly sexual crimes, sexual offences, have increased dramatically by 13.5.7%. Not to mention the assaults and public disorder, um, robberies, grand larceny, etc. Has increased dramatically too. So pretty much what it means, in the nicest possible terms, it's a more dangerous place, the country. Let's put it that way. Um, so yeah. So just actually on another topic out just outside of Holland. It doesn't seem like the Ukraine conflict's going to end anytime soon, unfortunately. Um, it doesn't look like it's going to end at any point in the future, unfortunately, in the foreseeable future for the next year anyway. Um, Even though the United States should be trying to do more to try and put a stop to it and try and get some kind of settlement, some kind of peace, even a ceasefire, it'd be better than nothing. But not a peep of anything being done. Yeah. So I don't know. It's probably going to go on for a lot more, like for probably more than another 10 years before it's ever sorted. Um. Also, did I mention the in the last live stream? Um. Did I mention the last live stream? There's a new just speaking of America. Um. There's a new party in America now. Elon Musk has started the American Party. Now, funny enough, the majority of people who are in his party at the moment are not even Americans. They're from India. So take that as you will. Imagine calling yourself, it's like the Finns party. We're not saying it with the Finns party, but Lockheed Martin yet. Unfortunately, it is, yeah. But that's the thing. But America should be doing, especially Donald Trump, he should be doing more. Now, I know Putin's being awkward with him, of course. I think Putin's being very, I don't know what you would describe it, but it's being very, just not going to give up on the way he sees it. And they shouldn't do that with him, because he just wants all of Ukraine, Putin. But at the same time, he shouldn't get it. So with that, because whatever about some of the regions, he could argue for that, but Yeah, I don't trust Trump, but we were just talking about Jeffrey Epstein earlier on. I don't trust particularly the answer he gave last night when he was asked, and he said to everybody, "Why are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Like, are you joking me? Like, a man that literally was a serial child abuser, rapist too." And he's asking, why is people still talking about this child abuse that had literally influential people, former presidents, current presidents, prime ministers, celebrities, literally that are still alive too, on his island to abuse children. And we have every right in the blue moon to talk about this, because these people should be held accountable for their crimes. Yeah, but not even that. I think Conor McGregor shot himself in the foot many times. Not to mention, because again, I don't know if you've seen the video of him punching somebody in Spain. He hit two people in Spain. I don't know what was the reason. He just hit them. But it's not good. And not to mention his case. He said he had new evidence, in terms of his civil trial, in terms of he was accused of rape, etc. In his civil trial, he said he had new evidence to suggest that the woman that is bringing the case against Conor McGregor, her boyfriend did it. But then at the last minute, he pulled that new evidence he was supposed to show out. So it pretty much shows that he is guilty in that too. Because if he had new evidence, he had the truth that he didn't do it, he would have showed it to the people and to the country and to the court that he didn't commit this. But he definitely did. There's no doubt in my mind now. Beforehand, I had some doubt that he might have been innocent in that. But particularly when he pulled that stunt, saying that he had new evidence when he didn't have any evidence at all. There was no hope in me ever supporting him after that. Because it'd be different if he showed the evidence and we had something to argue. He quite literally pulled the evidence and didn't show it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I might not be describing it the best way, but you get what I'm saying. There's no doubt in my mind that he committed that crime too. Whatever doubt I had before is pretty much crushed now. And not to mention, as I was just saying earlier on about Bullock Hill and the Constitution and stuff, the Irish Constitution is very clear on the role of the president. That Conor McGregor seems to think it's America and that he can do whatever he wants, pretty much. And not to mention, for some reason, he has a great obsession with Israel. And I don't want the Israeli state having such an influence in the Irish too. There's many other reasons, but particularly that reason, which the civil trial with the rape woman. I have no doubt in my mind that he committed it now. There's no doubt in my mind. Because he would have showed the evidence. You get what I'm saying? He would have showed the evidence to say if he said, your woman's boyfriend attacked her and done this. But he didn't. He pulled it out at the last minute. You get what I'm saying? It'd be different if he had the evidence, but there's no doubt in my mind. And then not to mention he hit an old man before Conor McGregor. Like, I could go on. But that's not saying. I'm saying to people, if you want to full Conor, I don't even think he has a chance. First of all, I said this before. He probably has no hope in hell of getting any council or any TD to back him. Like, there's not a hope. Is what I'm trying to say. Because you have to remember too, you need that before you get near office at Nuke on. You need to get the backing of 20 senators or TDs or councillors, and then obviously the local authority. You need backing of a local authority, and there's no way in hell he's going to get it. Simple as that. Whatever about Nick. He has a chance. He does have a chance to get an independent councillors and stuff to vouch for him, and independent TDs. He has a hope. He has a hope in that, and getting some councillors to go on his side. But Conor McGregor has no hope. Not a hope. But that's just my opinion. Don't shoot me for it. It's just the way I see it. I make a whole video talking about it eventually when the election does come up. But as I say to anybody, just look at what's been presented to you, and then make up your own mind. I don't want to tell you what to do. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to people you must do this or you must do that. That's democracy. Think for yourself, I suppose. In terms, I'm just saying because again, I've thought about all this. Like, it's not like I just made this up at the last minute. I've been looking at all this. I've been watching it very closely and what's happening. And again, I made up my own mind in terms of what was happening. If that makes any sense. You get me. He's with me. But like, if Conor McGregor, like what he's talking about on Twitter at the moment, Conor McGregor, if he ever wanted to have real change, he should run for Dáil Éireann or Shannon Éireann, because the Irish Constitution clearly states the separation of powers, that the power really lies in Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann. It doesn't lie in the presidency. The presidency is just, it has no power whatsoever, pretty much. In terms of maybe legislation and stuff, passing that and bringing it to the Supreme Court, that's pretty much all he can really do. There's nothing really else he can do. As looked at on the hair, like, there's no really thing else. There's no in America, the way Donald Trump can pass executive orders and stuff. There's no such thing as that in Ireland. The person has no authority to do that. I don't know. What do we take? Like, would people here vote for Conor McGregor, or would you vote for who would you vote for? I suppose in terms of the presidency, we were talking about this earlier on. I suppose But just to get a thing. Also, this the Japanese ambassador to the United Kingdom, we need to get him here very quickly, because he's quite a good ambassador. I think this is the best ambassador ever. I think we should give him an award for that. Let me see. Sorry, give me a moment. Wait, is the chat gone? I think the chat might be dead. Well, oh, it's all dead. Let's see. What is... No, it's fine. No, I was just making sure that there wasn't like banjoed. Yeah, but no, but this was the thing. Conor McGregor wanted to bring the neighbours, the two neighbours, as witnesses to trial. That was the new evidence he had. These two new witnesses to claim that her boyfriend hit her, and he pulled it out at the last moment. Like he pulled out that defense at the last moment. That's what I'm trying to say. If that makes any sense, that's his evidence. That was his new evidence, and he didn't even bring it to the court. Like he pulled it out before, like a few minutes bore it went to the court. If that makes any sense. So he didn't even. He pretty much retracted this evidence and his claim of that happening. If that makes any sense, and obviously the witness statements too. So that's pretty much what he done. Because if he, like in my mind, the way I see it, if he was innocent, he would have let them two witnesses speak and put them on, like, in the witness stand to give their evidence or whatever. But he didn't let. He pulled it out. He pulled it out. It wasn't like the judge said, "No, these people are not allowed to speak." He done it. He said, "No, they shouldn't go up," and he basically retracted his evidence to the counter claim, I suppose. You get what I'm saying? And to me, that really tells you everything, unfortunately. That there's no doubt in my mind about it. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the way I see it, I suppose. They were looking, yeah, but if it was the truth, like this is the thing. If it was the truth, and particularly if I was in that situation too, like if I was one of them witnesses, if it was the truth, I'd be saying to Conor McGregor, "I'm going to do it regardless if you like it or not, to speak the truth and stuff." But it's the fact of the matter, them two witnesses too. If I was one of them two witnesses, I'd be shouting from the rooftop about it, that I have evidence that could change everything. But they're not a peep from them, and the same from Conor McGregor too. You get what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm coming from? People might disagree with me, but it's just the way I see it, I suppose. I know people might disagree, but that's the way I see it. But as I say to people, make up your own mind, because I don't want to be telling people what to do and what to think and stuff like that. The government already does enough of that without me doing it, and the media and stuff like that. But as I say, just look at all the evidence, take it all into account, and make up your own mind. I'm just going to tell you what I think, but you don't have to listen to me and stuff, of course. That's democracy. That's the beauty of democracy. People can think for themselves. In dictatorships and stuff, people can't think for themselves because you're told what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And that's the beauty of democracy, that you can think for yourself. And stuff. If that makes any sense. So don't shoot, please. But anyway. But I'm sure people get where I'm coming from. It's not like I'm just pulling it out off the back of my head, Where am I now? Sorry. He's the father of a child. Yeah, well, you could argue that too. But what I'm trying to say, the evidence I have at the moment. You get what I'm saying? The evidence that I have at the moment suggests that there's no reasonable doubt to say that Conor McGregor didn't do this. If that makes any sense, with all the evidence that I have at hand, that's the conclusion I've come to. Excuse me, sorry. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's many things we could say, oh, this and that, but at the moment, I'm just going, well, what happened, and the court documents and stuff. Also, I should have probably mentioned this first thing. Actually, sorry. The fellow that I don't know if people remember this, but the fellow that ran around Carrickman Cross, the Romanian that had 6 convictions before he done this, has been jailed for 5 months. That's it, 5 months. So you can basically run around the country with a knife, and you get pretty much 5 months. And even though you have 6 convictions, you get 5 months. And obviously he's on the dole too, free legal aid, etc. Of course, of course. But obviously he should be sent home. That's instead of 5 months, send him home, and he can cause trouble from Romania. He might not get off with it over there, but 5 months is a joke. Let's put it that way. But again, this country is a joke. So there we go. In 5 months' time, he'll be back in Carrickman Cross, running around with a knife again. But he should be sent home, at the very least, whatever, about 5 months, along with being sent home. There's no. Again, he's not an Irish citizen. It would be different if he was an Irish citizen. He should go to prison for it. But there's no thing. There's no mention that he's not, like, he is an Irish citizen and stuff. He has 6 convictions anyway before he done this. Pretty much, he should be going. Whatever about maybe he went over the speed limit. Like, he has 1 conviction for that. That's either here nor there, pretty much, going over the speed limit in a bit. We're not going to send him home for that. But doing this, running around with a knife, he could have stabbed anybody, could have killed anybody, and there's no telling would he do it again, because he done it before. He could do it again, and it's just the simple truth. And 5 months would be different. It was 5 years. He would learn his lesson after 5 years that he shouldn't probably run around the place with a knife. But 5 months, he'd probably just go and do it again. Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. There's no word about that. But definitely had people in Carrickman Cross terrified. Somebody just running around the main street of Carrickman Cross with a knife. In broad daylight, too. Like, in broad daylight. Now, this is not the middle of the night now, but this is during the day. Like, I'm sure people remember seeing the video. But I think the majority of people would expect that he would be deported. But technically, again, the main thing is that he didn't kill anybody, or he didn't stab anybody. But again, there's always a next time, unfortunately. Again, especially because 5 months, if he might get out in good behavior in 2 months' time, pretty much. You get what I'm saying? It's not that I'm fear-mongering or stuff like that, but it's just the simple truth. Because what really has been achieved by sending them to prison for 5 months? And what kind of message does that send out to people that are going to do that too? Well, there was something else I was going to talk about. I can't remember. Old age. But yes, anything else anybody want to talk about? Because you know, by the way, I yap on for 5 hours. But if anybody has anything to say, please let me know. Anything to say to me. Because I do yap on a bit when I talk about different things. So yeah, Minister Neve Smith, Junior Minister Neve Smith, excuse me. Actually, there's news here. We're not getting to that yet. But Minister Neve Smith, she's the Minister of AI. You know, there's new title, there's the Minister for AI, pretty much, along with some other Wigmo shite. She has said there's pretty much going to be loads of jobs lost to AI, and obviously it's the truth. But you think the government would be saying we're going to try and keep as many jobs as possible instead of embracing AI? The way she said we're going to embrace AI and get rid of all these jobs. Yeah. But yeah, that's what Neve Smith was saying. My local 3D, great stuff. Any news with Sana? Of course, there is news with Sana. She won an arm wrestling competition. Well, not really competition, but yeah, she bet a singer in an arm wrestle. So she pretty much destroyed him. So that's what she was up to the other day. I saw that, yeah. Oh, did you see the video of it? There's a video of it. See, the worst thing about community posts, you're not allowed to kind of put up a video. It won't let you. I don't even know, do I have the video here? I actually don't even know, do I have the video? It's somewhere. It's somewhere on social media and stuff. Hello, Trent. How are you doing? But yeah, it is somewhere. I don't have it at the moment, but it is somewhere. Coincidentally, that's the first time in Finnish history that a former prime minister, I think, done an arm wrestling. Coincidentally. Also, the Santa Marin is going to release a music video. Well, not a music video, but the song, the French. I'm sure you remember the French song that was made a while ago, about a few months ago, in French. They're going to do a music video with Santa in it. They were filming that in Helsinki a few days ago. So, to my knowledge, that's what's happened. So it's going to be basically the first time ever, too, that the former prime minister was in a music video. That a former prime minister or current prime minister of Finland was in a music video. So that's coming out in November, or so I think, sometime that time. So yeah, that should be interesting to see. Mean comment about Donald Trump. Oh, when? Oh, today? Or was this on? Oh, you're talking about the one on like prime time. Well, to be totally honest, she's not wrong. To be totally honest, especially because with Jeffrey Epstein stuff at the moment. To be totally honest, I'm saying that. The Texas disaster. Well, I don't know about that. To be totally honest, I don't know about the Texas disaster. You could argue there could have been more done to stop to find to prevent this from happening, because they probably shouldn't have been able to occur and stuff. Yeah, the Epstein stuff's very sketchy. I wouldn't blame her if she was questioning stuff like that. I wouldn't blame Rosie O'Donnell at all. I think every reasonable person that heard Donald Trump last night saying what he did, any reasonable person would question what he was doing. Hello, Tommy. How are we doing? Good evening. Hello from Cavan. How are we doing? Hope all is well up in Dublin. Oh, down in Dublin, may I say too. Yeah, exactly. That's it. We were talking about this earlier on at the beginning of the stream, but particularly his comments last night. There's no doubt. There's literally no doubt he's on the list. in some shape or form. Maybe he's not the highest offender, but he's definitely on the list somewhere. Because we went, it's on my desk too. It doesn't exist. Oh, within a few months, lovely. But as I say, Donald Trump has really shot himself in the foot. Yeah, of course there is. There's a foreign country in the Middle East holding all the cards. They're holding all the cards, and that's who Jeffrey Epstein was associated with too. That certain country in the Middle East that you're not allowed to ask questions about. You can question, like the one thing you can't do in society is you can't question one country in the Middle East. You can question Russia, you can question your own society, but you can never dare to question a certain country in the Middle East that the United States coincidentally gives billions of euro a year to. Coincidentally, all coincidence. You can never question that. You know, but there definitely is because the people who are on Jeffrey Epstein's list are very powerful people, like celebrities and stuff, actors and stuff. And obviously, it's in their interest to make sure that never sees the light of day. And of course, there's a load of blackmail, of course, going on in the background, trying to blackmail people. Probably Donald Trump too. We see at the moment to try to shut him up. You know. Oh, I don't know about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg probably was too young. Whatever about Bezos, yeah. But I don't know about Zuckerberg. He was probably a bit too young. You know. I could be wrong, but I think I don't know about Zuckerberg. He might be not too bad, even though I think he's not human to be done sometimes. But you get what I'm saying. You know, you understand what I'm saying. I think he's a bit too young. With more older people, you know, the way Bill Clinton and stuff. And we still never found out why. And Jeffrey Epstein's island, there was a picture of Bill Clinton with a paper in his hand. And why does a picture of Bill Clinton then sitting in a chair with high heels? Like slumped over like this in high heels in Jeffrey Epstein's wall in this little island. We still never found that out. There's no mention at all about them two pictures. Because they're very, very weird pictures to have on your wall. Now, don't even stay at that. I know the hypocrisy there. What happened weird pictures and stuff, but you know, these are weirder pictures. Really weirder pictures. Oh, of course, that's what I literally am saying, that he was an agent of a foreign country. There's no doubt in my mind. And we all know, really, pretty much, when we add two and two together, the only country in the world America protects is a certain country in the Middle East. They protect no other country in the world. But there's a certain country in the Middle East that America protects with all its life. Literally, senators in the United States Congress, sitting senators that were supposed to represent the American people, have said that this state in the Middle East is more important than the United States of America. Like literally their own country is not important compared to this certain country in the Middle East. Like imagine that. Imagine sitting here now and saying this certain country in the Middle East is more important than Ireland. Like Sinn Féin have said it. Like one Sinn Féin person was the opposite way around. They were saying about a small countries being invaded. You know. Like, but this is the thing. Even the Congress people in the United States take an oath of allegiance to a foreign country, quite literally. Hello, Tony. Hello, Mrs. Faye. How are you doing? But that's literally what they're doing. Like, quite literally, that's literally was said by, I think it was Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene that said, the Republican congressman from Georgia, isn't it? Georgia. She literally says that literally every day, like there's an organization that works. I suppose we could go into it for a long time, but quite literally, they nearly swear an oath of allegiance to a foreign country, which is insane. It'd be like me literally here. Instead of swearing allegiance to Ireland, I swear allegiance to, I don't know, Netherlands or something like that. Which why would you be doing that? But you know. But everybody's toned up now. All of a sudden, everybody's just toned up. Yeah, Bitwin and Mark Butler hasn't been here in about 30 years. Well, not 20 years to be precise, but a good while. But see, people have lives, and that's the thing. You can't expect people to drop everything and to be here all the time. No, I did not. Fiona did, so blame her. It's all their fault. Oh yeah. Actually, no. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, we probably shouldn't go there. We don't want to go there. Probably shouldn't go there tonight. We go again another night on that topic. We not go there tonight because we might upset YouTube a bit. They might be thinking you're committing thought crime, and we don't want that. YouTube thinking that we're committing thought crime. Not going to that. Yeah, we're not going to go there tonight. That's all I say. Because YouTube might get very upset about it. Very upset. There's been just actually. I should have probably said this at the beginning, but yeah, the amount of protests that's happening at the moment in the country, like every 5 minutes of the day, there's protests at this stage. There's protests about student fees. There was a protest outside the door yesterday. Michelle Keaton organised and stuff, I think. And there's protest this, and then there's this other protest and that other protest. And there's that many protests that I don't know what's going on. Again, too had their protest yesterday too, I think, outside the GPO, wasn't it? Yeah. And Sinn Féin are having theirs this week, isn't that right? Of course. Allegedly, of course, too. So obviously with the trout coming up, there's an absolutely huge bonfire. I don't know how they get building these big, huge bonfires in Belfast. Like it's literally massive. Like, it's insane. I don't know how they're able to build like such a big, massive thing like this. I probably should mention what I was going to mention anyway, so don't. We'll settle down a bit, I suppose. That's what I'm going to say at the moment. But yeah. So at the moment in time, it's not really been confirmed, but Yale reported to the Finnish national broadcaster that the Tony Blair Institute is involved in the Gaza project, which is pretty much Donald Trump's plan to actually pretty much replace the Palestinian people. So the Tony Blair Institute has been involved in that. Allegedly, of course, because the Tony Blair Institute have said they're not, and they're not doing it and stuff. But it's hard to know are they doing it or not. There's not really any. Pretty much we're only going by what they're saying. There's no evidence to say that they are involved or they aren't involved. So we don't know. But of course, it fits Tony Blair's narrative because Tony Blair obviously wants always to get involved in foreign countries. But of course, now I'm going to mention the woman, but the woman behind me is definitely not involved in that. If it is happening in Gaza, there's no way that she is involved in it, because her work is mainly in Ukraine. As literally we're speaking now, she's off to the Ukrainian Recovery Summit in Rome, for the Tony Blair Institute. So quite literally, she has no role or shape or form in the Gaza project. So it's hard, as I say, it's kind of 50-50 if the Tony Blair Institute is involved with it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But there's no this woman behind me is not involved in that. And I don't know if the Tony Blair Institute is involved. It could be, but I'm sure people have seen that on my community post. If not, then have a look at it. But it's kind of 50-50 hour. I don't even think Yal knows themselves. Yeah, I think also, but that's what I'm not saying that's for certain that they were involved, the Tony Blair Institute, in that. But what she didn't say such a thing, no. But no, but she's in a different sector, if that makes any sense. She's more on the Ukraine stuff, in terms of Ukraine, not in the Middle East and stuff. If that makes any sense. Even if the war's going on, but I don't know. It's hard to know because I show you now what I'm talking about. But the whole role is mainly in Ukraine. She is literally in Rome at the moment at the Ukrainian Recovery Summit. So I don't know. I don't know. Are they involved? The Tony Blair Institute themselves. So it's a big institute. There's a lot of people working for Tony Blair. Just give me a moment. So I should have had this probably ready. I wasn't going to mention that because it's opening the can of worms, I suppose. Especially because it's not 100% confirmed if it's true, and that's the thing. So everything I'm saying here, take it with a pinch of salt, because it might not be true, but it could be true. And that's the thing, and I have to say that straight. I don't want to be sending disinformation out there, but it could be true, and it's kind of 50-50, because I've looked into it myself, and nobody really knows. Tony Blair Institute have said they're not, but they have none to say 100% we're not. There's no evidence to suggest that they are, but there's, you get what I'm saying. It's a weird situation, but still, I suppose we have to discuss it. I suppose if that makes any sense. It's a weird one to discuss, but yeah, this is from the Finnish national broadcaster. This is just a screenshot of what I was saying. Employers of Sanna Marin and Tony Blair Institute participated in the Gaza River project, a document written by the Tony Blair staff. But again, this is the thing: the document that they're talking about. For what I have seen, it's hard to know, are they? Because it's not like Sanna Marin herself wrote it. So it's hard to know, are these people employed by the Tony Blair Institute? That's the problem we have at the moment, because we don't know. There's a document that does exist. But is it the Tony Blair Institute that has written it? That's the thing. And Yal doesn't know really themselves, to be totally, I don't think, too. As I said here, Sanna Marin's more working in Ukraine than in Gaza and stuff. And then they told the Yal, the Finnish national broadcaster, strong statement to Yal from Sanna Marin's employer, did not participate in the Gaza River Vina. And it would be completely wrong to say so. Spokesman for the Tony Blair Institute tells Yal the Financial Times Sunday News was incorrect and seriously misleading. So that's what the Tony Blair Institute is saying. So it's kind of 50-50 to be totally true. It's 50-50. It's hard to know if it is true or not. To be totally honest with you. So take it with a pinch of salt. But definitely the woman behind me, because I know one person was saying to me, they thought they seen this headline and thought it was Sanna Marin that was directly doing this. Like a lot of people use, because obviously the Tony Blair Institute is not really a face apart from Tony Blair, but the only other person that's a former prime minister and a high-ranking person is Sanna Marin. The rest of them are kind of all low-ranking people. So obviously the media would use Sanna Marin this and Sanna Marin that. But you get what I'm saying. So it might not be true. It might be. We see. Time will only tell, I suppose, because the document that they're talking about does exist. But it's hard to know, was it Tony Blair people, like in the Tony Blair Institute, that wrote it? It's hard to know, to be told. I suppose we might not know for a long time, but we see. But of course, it shouldn't be probably thinking about this devilish stuff. Oh, so that's the usual, I know. But just actually when I'm here on my community post, Wait a minute, sorry, give me a moment. So yeah, free arena. So you have to pay. So everyone only here you go. What they got €2,000 for a photo with Barack Obama. Anybody that wants to go to see Barack Obama, €2,000, please, just to take a photo, just to take a photo with him, €2,000. And to be totally honest, I can't really talk shit. To be totally honest, here. Sorry about that. The cat, the cat was at my door. She went down the stairs now. She was here and then just left and went down the stairs. Don't know why she was kind of banging on my door. So apologies for that. I'm just going to see did she want to come in. I thought she wanted to come in, but no, she just kind of like banged against my door and went back downstairs. They're willing to pay, yeah. Well, the quite you know that's nothing yet. um, yeah. So as I say in this, I paid 1,200 for a ticket to the summit in Dublin, and only went for one day, and that wasn't even like the top ticket was €2,000. Like the top ticket, because there was another tier. I had the second tier of ticket, but there was another ticket for 2,000 where you got a free dinner and stuff. You got a big dinner with the Taoiseach and stuff with Micheál Martin, a big dinner and stuff, and loads of stuff and then photos with people. But obviously, Santa Mount. Thankfully, I didn't purchase it. I was going to purchase it. I told you about this before. But yeah, she went off. She wasn't there for the 2 days. She was only there literally for when she spoke, and then she literally left about 30 minutes later because she had to go to Amsterdam for work for the Tony Blair Institute. So I can't really talk shit because I paid 1,200 just for the summit thing. That doesn't include the hotel cost. So it was nearly 2,000 something euro I paid to just go to this, first of all, for one day, just that too. And that was the only reason why I went to see Santa Maria. Not even just to meet her, just even if I could listen and stuff and see it with my own two eyes, I suppose. I know that sounds a bit weird. But it would have been €2,000. And I was going to get it. But it would have been €4,000 nearly to go up to Dublin. And well, not 4,000, but it would have been probably near enough 4,000 to go up for 2 nights, the hotel and everything, and the concert, because the concert thing was the thing was €2,000. Then obviously the hotel cost and the bus ticket, and then just kind of eating out and going for something to eat. It would have added up to a fair bit. What I'm trying to say. So, but it is over the top charging people €2,000, and especially for this too was a bit over the top. I can't really talk shit. Yeah, with the Mongol, because that's what the thing was. You had the free dinner, like you paid €2,000, but you get loads of perks and stuff, and you get to see people and stuff. Sinn Féin is very famous for that, but 400 is not too bad. Like I paid for like a seat for 2 days. There was €2,000 just to sit in a seat for 2 days and listen to people. At least with the dinner, you're getting something to eat and stuff. It's not too bad compared to this. Like literally, this is only a photo with Barack Obama. That's all it is. €2,000. Like in fairness, I was going to pay €2,000, but the only reason why I didn't, because as I said, it would have been an insane cost just to go up to Dublin. You know, but I was kind of lucky. It kind of worked out in a way too, because as I say, she was supposed to be there the 2 days, but then she had work in Amsterdam. So basically, she couldn't stay for the whole day. Like basically, she was supposed to be there all the time. So it kind of worked out because I would have been very disappointed. Like quite literally, the person I paid the €2,000 to go and see wasn't there. Like left early. If that makes any sense. Oh yeah, I know, but I was happy. I was happy at it because again, it was a difficult I'm sure people remember it was a very difficult time. What happened in January? It was like the beginning of the year to me, and to the family too. So it kind of helped me a lot bit and more too. So it wasn't that I'm complaining about the money, but I'm just kind of saying in general too. It is a bit too much to charge people. What about €1,000 or something like that? Maybe, but anything after that is a bit too much. If that makes any sense. Especially for photos and stuff. It costs nothing to have a photo with somebody. Like it costs just nothing, you know. But I'm happy that I went. Let's put it that way. I don't regret it for a moment. But I could have paid for the top ticket. What I'm trying to say, I would have been paying 2,000 to go for the top ticket, you know. Trinity College Dublin has begun sending invoices for the next agricultural lead, looking for more than €3,000. Lovely stuff. So Irish people are paying 3,000. One invoice seen by OT is 3,290 regarding college fees from 2025 to 2026. There you go, government great. So there you go. All the yapping about before the election last year, all the yapping from Simon Howe saying, "Oh, we'll look after the students and all that." They did fuck all. Great stuff, Simon Howes. Well done. Oh, Paul Keogh. What about Paul Keogh? Nobody likes him. Like, quite literally, it's the first time ever I heard him literally like a person getting upset. Because literally everybody in his constituency and everybody that literally exists on this planet celebrated. Like, he was literally crying about people literally celebrating that, that he was leaving. Like, everybody celebrated when he left. Like, nobody was crying that he left. Everybody was delighted to see the fucker go. Excuse my language, but let's be fair, that's what everybody was. So everybody he was very upset that everybody was delighted to see him go, to see the back of him. Yeah, but it still is unreasonable to ask your students, young Irish students, to look for €3,000 for them, like to give. It's still unreasonable. It is unreasonable, especially because their parents are paying a huge amount of money in taxes and stuff, and people are coming here from India and getting college courses free. You have to remember that, because why is Indian people coming here and getting free college courses paid by the European Union, and Irish people have to pay for it? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Because why is there so many international students coming here? They're not coming here and paying for it. They're definitely getting it for free, because there's no way they're coming here from India and paying €3,000 or €4,000 for a college course along with the accommodation. There's no way. They're getting grants up to the eyeballs, and Irish people don't get anything. Because I'm sure this only counts the Irish people that pay the 3,000. Everybody else gets handouts. Free. Ukrainians get totally free. Take, for example, college. Totally free, not a penny paid. Doesn't make any sense. But in this day and age, for college, I know people, whatever you argue, but it should be free. Like, it really, really should be. If it's the same with the Scandinavian countries, the Nordic countries, it probably should be here too. Evie. Interesting. But yeah, no, but it is a lot of money for young people, to go to it. But it is a lot. And nowadays, you really kind of need, to go to college to get money to have a good job, like to have a good life, in terms of paying for stuff and stuff. In terms of like getting a house and stuff, a mortgage and stuff. Because working a 9 to 5, you never really be able to afford to get a mortgage and stuff. If that makes any sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Of course, it's all politicized, of course. Like, I never be allowed to go into college. Let's put it that way. Whatever about maybe the small, I never be allowed to go into Trinity College or anything if I wanted to. Or University Dublin, they wouldn't let me in. They won't let me in. I already know it because they look up my YouTube and they'll be like, "Oh, this fellow is very extremist. We can't have that." We can't have that going on. Whatever about maybe Cavan Institute here in Cavan or Mullen Institute or something like that. There's not a hope in hell of me getting to the big colleges because straight away they look up my name or they find out who I am and they're like, "This fellow is extremely dangerous. Like, not dangerous, but he's committed thought crime many times." And it's questioning people before popular Sinn Féin. We can't have that. We can't do that. Shut it down, lads. Shut it down. Oh yeah, tradesmen. Yeah, it's a great, like, especially because there's a lack of tradesmen. Yeah, but a lot of people don't want to work with their hands. It's dirty work, take it's up being a plumber and stuff like that. And I'm no good with my hands. I've seen people in my class and stuff in my school that were good with their hands, like they're gifted in terms of doing things with their hands. But I'm no good with doing things with my hands in terms of making stuff. But I've seen people that are brilliant. Like, where was that pen? Is it here? Or where is it? Give me a moment. TV goes on now. Yeah. Where is it? Sorry. Where would it be? Sorry. I'm trying to find it. Sorry, give me a moment. Do I have it on here? It's looking at me all the time. Like, there was a post in my school that made, like, he'd done pens and stuff in the in the evening time when I went home from school. And he was great at woodwork. He was a master at woodwork. And he was a master at metalwork too. He did a great thing. He made this pen, and I bought it off him and stuff. Like, this is like he made it himself, and this is literally only when I bought it off him. He was only about maybe 17, 16. Like, he was gifted. Like, he is a gifted fellow. Like, he was amazing. Like, he was even better than some of the teachers I had in secondary school. He was better than the woodwork teachers. Like, he was amazing at woodwork. He was a master at craft and things. Like, if he doesn't go on to be something to do with woodwork, even metalwork or anything, like, he should. Like, he was a master. Like let's be fair, he made this himself. That's quite good. Like, not quite good. It's really, really good. But that's what I'm saying. I couldn't do it to save my life. Like, you want to see the thing I made in woodwork. I don't know if they'll ever show you this, but I made an awful hoo of a thing in woodwork, and it's atrocious. The who and bastard thing. I was coming up the road there now, and be Jesus, I come to the cross, and I come to the cross. And this. I come to the cross, and that was all I seen on the cross. Hey, Jesus. I get the thing that I'm talking about. Find the thing. Make Calvin great again. Where is it? Hey, show him my What the fuck? Am I blind or stupid? Just give me a second. Oh, sorry about that. Hey. Yeah, like, this is the first thing I made in woodwork in first year. Now, the other stuff was that atrocious. I didn't even finish the other stuff in my school, like in secondary school. Yeah, I didn't finish it, yeah. So this is pretty much the only thing I have to show for the time I was in secondary school in woodwork and stuff. It's not too bad, like, but it was better because you could have done one with a motor, you know. You could have done one like there was somebody there who was able to, because again, if you had the skill, you could have done it with a motor. Like you could get a motor here and the thing spin automatically. But obviously, I'm incompetent, so that was the first thing. That's pretty much the only thing I have to show for the time I was in secondary school. Yeah, like fucking awkward. Like I found it so awkward. Like I'm no good with my hands. Like it's all right, but there's like ones that literally were like the fellow I'm talking about. Literally made a huge boat, like literally a cruise ship nearly. Like this is only a small like boat. Like he literally made about 4 or 5 decks, and this was up very high, and then a rotor, like a thing that went itself. Fucking, it was crazy. He did like even the teacher himself couldn't do it. Like it was insane. Like this man fucking could. If you give him any kind of water taught, he could make anything out of anything. Like it was insane. Like it's mad. And him only when I was in first year, maybe God knows 15, something like that. And he could make anything. Like he was gifted. Like if he never would, if he didn't go on for woodwork or something to do with it, or making sculptures or something, like there was no doubt about it. He's gifted. I'm not as gifted as him, but yeah, I'm saying, but the people like that, if they're gifted like that, some people it just comes to them naturally. But yeah, he was great. I wish I could show you some of his work. Now it's about taking the whole fucking lot out again. 80 dollars. It's all Malon's fault. Having tea. I eat Jesus. You miss. Yeah, we're not going to go there. What mention? Oh. Yeah, but yeah, that was my first woodwork. That's all I literally have to show for the time I was in secondary school. Isn't that lovely? But yeah, no, it is a really, really good pen. See, when I got this table, it used to be out of my table. But see, when I got this table, I only have a few pens out of it. Because it's just fucking too much in the way. Too much in the way. Where was that fucking thing? Excuse my language. Yeah, oh, there it is. Yeah. Never wore this in a good long time. So I should wear this a bit more. See, when I used to have it on my table, I wore it a bit more. I don't know where the normal Foley one's gone, but who cares that one? So it could be in this one. Maybe in the bottom. Ito ay sound malan. Yeah. Why is he speaking Finnish? Yeah, I still have it. It's good, but like, where was it gone here? Like, it's a well quality pen. It still works too. Like, it still works. I use it now and again. But see, I can't put it on the tape. I wish I could. I use it more frequently if I had it on the tape. But now and again, when I'm writing stuff down, I use it. But it's a good pen, and it wasn't. He only charged me €15 for it. It wasn't that. It wasn't deal at all. He could have charged me €40, like especially because it's not. I'm sure it's not easy, kind of making this pen, like sitting down and doing it. It's not an easy thing. So we have every right to charge me €40 for it if you wanted to. But anyway, I think we might leave it there for tonight. Or near enough there. Is there anything else anybody wants to ask me or anything? Because I say that's probably it for tonight. That's all she wrote. I think that's really it. So, yeah, we'll probably leave it there. So, listen, lads and lasses, we'll hopefully be back Saturday. All going well, of course. So we leave it there for the moment. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you being here. Um, so we leave it there for tonight. So yeah, thank you, Evan. As I said, there'll probably be a video up tomorrow, but there'll be no other videos tonight. I don't think anyway. So yeah, thank you, everyone. As I said, I see you Saturday. I do appreciate everybody being here, and enjoy the good weather. Enjoy the good weather because it's not going to last too much longer, unfortunately. So enjoy it, and I will talk to you Saturday. So good night and take care and enjoy.